Okay, today is January the 30th, 2020, and at 7:45 we have a temperature of 46 degrees here in the foothills of Los Angeles. The relative humidity is 38%, the dew point is 22 degrees, and the barometer is at 29.97 inches. All right, so since the last video we put up, which was on the 22nd, we've had a very heavy aerosol chemtrail spraying since that time, every day since the 22nd. And so I'm looking here at my logs, and today, the 29th, we've got, or pardon me, the 30th, we have a very heavy spraying as well. And we can see here, looking at the infrared map for the western US, why that's happening. Once again, the chemtrail aerosols are sprayed when we have chances of rain here from all this moisture moving in. Now, if we look at the jet stream map here real quick, we can see what's happening. We have a partial jet stream flow moving down through California. And this was the same pattern yesterday. Okay, so there it is. That's the jet stream. We've got chances of rain. We've had many rain opportunities blocked by these terrorists controlling our weather. So let's get back to the map here. We have the western US infrared map, and we see what's happening. We have all this moisture streaming in, and none of it is producing any precipitation. Let's go ahead and look at the Doppler map here. We can see zero precipitation anywhere in the southwest. We can see a little bit of snow up here near Salt Lake City, Utah, and down here in the southern part of Utah near the Arizona border. All right, so getting back to the maps here, we can see what's happening once again. So we've got all this moisture diving down, and nothing is producing any precipitation. So people up in Northern California, I can guarantee you, you're being sprayed. You have been getting sprayed. These specially equipped jets spray over the moisture moving in, and that prevents the lift in the atmosphere. Now let's look next here at the bigger map. This is the Northeast Pacific water vapor loop. This is a storm developing right out here, and we see the jet stream flow. We've got high pressure installed down in this area, right just east of the Hawaiian Islands. We can see a bow right here in this jet stream flow, right here where high pressure is being installed. We've got some tropical flow down here, which is having to move around. This area here was a dry upper level low pressure system showing up on the pressure maps, and we can see that it has been completely blockaded for a number of days. And so we see all this moisture having to ride around this installed stationary area of high pressure. Down here on the over Mexico, we can take a look at these pressure maps. We can see that looking at the 300 millibar map, we have low pressure over northern Mexico near New Mexico. We've got low pressure there. If we look at the 500 and look at the squiggly lines out here, this is where this isobar here is showing some manipulation at the 300 millibar level. We've got the jet stream flowing in right over California. Next, let's look at the 500 map. We see a closed low right here over right over Mexico, northern Mexico. Low pressure right there. See these squiggly isobars? We should never see that. This indicates atmospheric manipulation by the upper level wind disturbances created by the satellite transmitters, which are controlling our weather. Now, looking at the surface map, we can see a high pressure. This has been here the entire month, pretty much, blocking all the weather. We have a closed low. That's that storm we're going to show here in a second on the surface analysis map. Right here, this is a developing storm. Right here, we have this installed area, man-made high pressure. Right here, that's going to block and ride this whole thing up to the north. So, and by the way, for the entire month of January, here in the dead of winter, we have had a grand total of 0.15 inches for the entire month of January, and there is no rain in the 10-day forecast for Southern California. So here we are. We're looking at all this weather being blocked by this area of high pressure. We've got the jets up spraying the chemtrail mix to prevent the precipitation process. And Meanwhile, we have a criminal organization known as the mainstream media who are covering this up, and they are peddling a completely false narrative, which is this bogus global warming slash climate change slash the carbon dioxide, greenhouse gas, all that baloney, that BS is being peddled by the mainstream media, and yet they're not showing these maps on the nightly news. We don't see all this detail because they don't want us to see that detail, and there's a reason for that. The weather is being manipulated, and we're also being taxed. Corporations are being taxed around the world for their carbon emissions. This is a shakedown. The biggest racket in the world right now going is this fake climate emergency that the media and the Democrats have perpetrated. And I mean that because the media and the Democrats work together. If you don't understand that, then you need to talk to somebody. All right, so there it is. We have the Northeast Pacific water vapor loop. We have a storm developing right here. We can see the manipulation already starting to occur on this vortex. Now in a day, this will be much more disorganized looking, but we can see what's happening here. This vortex is being manipulated. We have high pressure being forced into that vortex, and within a day we will see the rotation here completely stop. In fact, it's already beginning to slow. We can see that there's not much vigorous rotation here in the vortex. That should be a spiral right there. Now looking at the this is the water vapor map for the western U.S. We can see this water vapor diving down. We should be having rain from all this moisture diving down, but of course the jets, especially equipped jets, prevent the precipitation process by spraying the chemtrail aerosol mix, which basically caps the atmosphere and prevents the precipitation process. So the pattern is tried and true. We're seeing more propaganda from the mainstream media. This is an article here. I'll just put it right up in front of the camera. I don't know if you can see that too well, but this is from Zero Hedge. The date is January the 27th. You can find this real easy on the internet. The title of this is Congress Now Funding Controversial, that's in quotes, controversial, Geoengineering Plan B to spray particles in the sky to cool the earth. Now, this happens to jive perfectly with Dane Wigington's propaganda, and he explains that these aerosols are being sprayed to block sunlight and fight global warming. So we know that's all false. If you watch this channel, you know that the evidence is clear and that Mr. Wigington is peddling disinformation. Now, that may be deliberate on his part, or he is just stubborn and maintaining his position so as to not admit that he was wrong, or whatever the case may be. This is not a personal attack on the work that his website has done and what he's done, but these aerosols, let me just tell you straight, these aerosols are sprayed to modify weather, to stop the precipitation process. We know that because the relative humidity drops dramatically after the aerosols are sprayed. We know that if you just read your weather instruments, if you have a barometer, if you have a relative humidity instrument, if you have temperature and dew point instruments, all those can be had in one single device for about $200. So if you want to get with a program and validate and verify what I'm telling you, then get yourself a weather instrument and start watching what happens. These aerosols contain aluminum. Aluminum is a desiccant. A desiccant absorbs water vapor. And so when you're spraying desiccants on a mass scale in the atmosphere, that's going to do a couple of things. It's going to lower the relative humidity, which sponges up atmospheric water vapor, and also prevents the lift in the atmosphere. It caps the atmosphere so that we can't have any rain. And so people have to understand what's happening. That's what's happening. The evidence is clear. The timing of the aerosol spraying always coincides with chances of rain. And the spraying is done at night. So that right there, the fact that these aerosols are being sprayed at night to stop the precipitation process completely negates and invalidates Wigington's argument. And everybody else out there who's contending that these aerosols are sprayed to block sunlight. That's just a lot of horse crap. All right, so that's the situation. And let's take a look at the surface analysis map. We see a storm right out here. This is a 996 millibar developing storm. And this is going to be steered to the northeast. We see the high pressure indicated here. California and Oregon are right down here. Okay, so that's the surface map. And let's take a look at the swell report. Here we can see right off the west coast of California, we have 10 and 11 foot swells. We've got 12 and 15 foot swells off of Northern California. And we have 26 foot swells right up here where there was a hurricane force storm that was pushed up north, and that's where this is right now. This was generating about 45 foot seas here a couple of days ago out here in the further west out in the Pacific. Okay, so that's the report. We'll just leave it right here, and you can see all that rain is just not occurring where it's being stopped. So all this jet stream flow is diving down into our area, and nothing's happening. Okay, that's it.